Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter number 7, Text 44, Translation and Commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Tapyante loka tapena sadhavaha prayashaha janaha parama aradhanam tat hi purushasya akhila atmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha.
Tapyante lokatapena sadhavah prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha
tapyante lokatapena sadhavah prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhavah prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha.
Ladies,
Tapyante lokatapena sadhavah prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha tapyante lokatapena sadhavah prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha
tapyante, voluntarily suffer. Loka tapena, because of the suffering of people in general. Sadhavaha, saintly persons. Prayashaha, almost always. Janaha, such persons. Parama, Aradhanam, the topmost method of worshipping. Tat, that activity. He, indeed. Purushasya, of the Supreme Person. Akhila Atmanaha, who is the super soul of everyone. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. Purport. Here is an explanation of how those engaged in activities for the welfare of others are very quickly recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in Bhagavad-gita, Ya'idang paramanguhyam madbhakteshvabhidhyasati nachatas man manushyeshu kaschin me priyakritamaha. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad-gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in this material world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Other welfare activities cannot be effective, for the laws of nature and the results of karma cannot be checked. It is by destiny or the laws of karma that one must suffer or enjoy. For instance, if one is given a court order, he must accept it, whether it brings suffering or profit. Similarly, everyone is under obligations to karma and its reactions. No one can change this. Therefore, the Shastra says, Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam upriyadaha. One should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reactions of karma. What is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? If one has been recognized by the Lord, even if he does not ask the Lord for anything, the Lord, who is within everyone, supplies him whatever he wants. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad-gita. Teshang nityabhiyuktanang yogakshemang vahamyaham. Again, as stated here, tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha. The best welfare activity is raising people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, since the conditioned souls are suffering only for want of Krishna consciousness. The Lord himself also comes to mitigate the suffering of humanity. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanang sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunang vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. All the Shastras conclude, therefore, that spreading the Krishna consciousness movement is the best welfare activity in the world because of the ultimate benefit this bestows upon people in general. The Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by the devotee. That's chapter 8, text 7. Chapter 7. tapyante lokatapena praya sadhava praya shojanaha paramaradhanang tadhi purushasya kilatmanaha. Om agyanatimirandhasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurin militam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. Nama shrishtam manumapi shachiputram atra swarupam rupam tasyagrajamurupuring maturim goshtavartim radha kundam girivaramaho radhika madhavasham prapto yasya pratita kripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagarna Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagarna Lalita Shri Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tine Smarane Hoy Vigna Vinashan Anaya Shri Hoy Nijavan Chita Puran. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This verse was spoken by Lord Shiva as he was about to drink the poison which had come in the churning of the milk ocean. And only he could do that. Vishnu can do also, but this one he gave to Shiva. And it appears that it's not an easy task even for Lord Shiva. There's some suffering involved there. Otherwise, why is he saying this? But he did it to mitigate the suffering of all the universe. And he himself is saying that, well, I have to do it. It's that this is the way to worship Krishna. Krishna in the heart of everyone. Krishna knows the suffering of every living being. He's directly observing from within the heart. He knows the suffering more than we do. We're so covered by the illusory energy, we're not even aware we're suffering. So this is a suitable verse for reciting, for receiving the book distributors back to base. You came to Krishna consciousness for finding that. This verse Srila Prabhupada is quoted in the purport. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovidona labhyate yad brahmatamu prayadaha. To find out that which you cannot get. Wandering up and down. We're all wanderers. You're wandering up to Detroit and down to Atlanta, and up to Brahma Loka, down to Patala Loka. We're all wandering in the universe. But that thing which we can't find by wandering up and down in the universe. What is that one thing? What are we all looking for as we're going from body to body to body? And what is the ant looking for? Looking for some sugar grain, okay. What is the hawks here? They're flying around. What are they looking for? I saw they're looking for one squirrel. They're trying to catch the squirrel. The squirrel somehow gets away most of the time. Do you hear them calling out all the time? I think they're calling out that we're hungry. They're looking for something. What are we looking for? We're looking for our inner heart satisfaction. And that we won't get anywhere except in Krishna consciousness, because Krishna is that person who we can fully reciprocate loving feelings with. So I hope you're all feeling, you should be feeling it, right? It's not just theoretical philosophy. Pratyakshavangamam dharmyam susukam kartamavyayam. It should be directly experienced by the happiness that we experience in practicing Krishna consciousness. So we hear, it may be theoretical, this is the highest conception of reality. What is the highest conception of reality? Of different philosophers, they're looking at what is the highest, and then ultimately come to Brahman, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Atato Brahma Jignasa means after we've been through all the Vedic processes, we come to understand that the transcendent, the ultimate source of everything, what is Brahma? What is that? Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayat yabishang vishanti tad vijigyasasvat tad Brahma, that from which everything emanates, that which in everything rests, that into which everything ultimately enters. That is the real subject we should be inquiring into. That is Brahma. So that we come to. We're to find out the highest conception of reality, Brahma, but then go beyond. That he is the Supreme Person. And then beyond that, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and beyond that, any higher to go? Yeah, cowherd boy. That's right. And beyond that, na chaitanyat krishnat jagati paratatvam parameha. There's no higher truth than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So are you experiencing encouragement in your activities? Are you feeling you're having reciprocation from Krishna as you're chanting the holy names? Inner satisfaction of the heart. That's the ultimate test. And you can understand that this is not any kind of happiness that's available anywhere in the material world. Yesterday, who was that? He came from Las Vegas. Justin. The people go to Las Vegas, what for? To enjoy themselves. And then if you go a little further, you come to Grand Canyon, is it? It's a little further west from here. So that's another kind of enjoyment altogether. And where else is there? Niagara Falls. There are so many tourist sites to see in America. In the 1980s, one of my godbrothers, from England, he came over to America, he and the two of them. They hired a car and they drove to every state in America. They thought, we want to see it before it all gets blown up. Because in the 1980s, they were thinking that nuclear war is inevitable. Now they're talking about it again. So many things to see. What are the top tourist attractions in Georgia? Stone Mountain. Every mountain's a stone mountain, is it not? Maybe we get mountains of garbage also. That's in every city. Tourist attraction. Yeah, and the mountains of garbage, they're also pilgrimage places, right? Tadvaya samtirtam, pilgrimage place for crows. So we can experience that we're in touch with the divine, and we have this opportunity to not just connect with divinity at the highest level, but to connect others also. That becomes our duty. When we get this gift, it's our duty to try to communicate that to others. And what better thing is there to do? What else? There are so many things you could do. You could go skiing, for instance. You could play chess. How many things are there to do? Right now, you don't even have to go anywhere. Just pick up your phone and you can play all kinds of games. But you're engaged in the highest fulfillment of your life. Beyond space and time. So you're all great souls. We just read this. Tapyante loka tapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanang tadi purushasya kilatmanaha. Persons who take the difficulty to benefit others. They're great souls, saintly persons. And I'm proud to be associated with you. We're not supposed to be proud, but this kind of pride, that's acceptable. To have such good association of saintly persons, you're all Srila Prabhupada's blessing on me. Going out, taking difficulties, distributing books all around America. In the prime of your youth, when people think this is the time to enjoy life, or build a career. On one hand, you're building a career, and when you get a little time in between, you enjoy. Enjoy yourself as much as possible. Sex, intoxication, different kinds of food, and you're spending your youth tapyante loka, voluntarily accepting difficulties for benefiting others. So many things all around us. There are all kinds of temptations all around. All kinds of advertisements. Do this, do that, buy this, buy that. But you are concentrating on the service which is coming down. In disciplic succession, we just sung Shad Goswami Ashtakam. How 6 Goswamis, they were writing books. And they were Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Saddharma Sangstapako Lokanam Hitakari. They were researching all the Shastras, writing books with the aim of benefiting people. So the same task is going on. It's coming down from the 6 Goswamis. So your life is glorious. That's all right. A little. Oh, maybe she needs to go and run around a little bit. Suffering. Childhood is suffering. Huh? Childhood is suffering, youthhood is suffering, manhood is suffering, womanhood is suffering, old age is suffering, death is suffering, birth is, everything's suffering. So your life is glorious. You're going and giving the knowledge by which people don't have to become a baby again and again and again. No time to relax. We have a big job. Big job. Conquering over the demoniac civilization. And it gets worse day by day. In our lifetime we can see. That's predicted also in Bhagavatam. What is that verse? Tataschanudinam dharma satyam shoksham kshamadaya kalena balena rajan nangshantyayur balang smriti. With the passing of every day, every good quality is decreasing. Religiousness, tataschanudinam dharma, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy. Then, what's the next one? Daya. Kalena balina rajan, lifespan, physical strength, mental strength, everything is going down day by day. And it seems to pick up more velocity as the time goes on. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, that we're at the beginning of Kali Yuga, but we're getting the symptoms at the end of Kali Yuga. It seems like that. It's so bad in so many ways. Kale dosha nidhe rajan. It's a great ocean of faults. And the basis is what? It's the wrong conception of life, what Srila Prabhupada referred to as the polluted aim of life. Because people think that the goal of life, not that many people actually think philosophically, what is the goal of life? But without thinking, they just go through their life thinking that I have to get more money and get more sense gratification and more prestige and enjoy up to the last second of life. We have to go on until the last moment of life just trying to enjoy the senses. But Srila Prabhupada's books, they address the difficulties of civilization at the very root, which is ignorance of who we are and what is the purpose of life. So Srila Prabhupada's books are the prime antidote to the misunderstandings that lead to the polluted aim of life on which the present demoniac civilization is based. In Kali Yuga, the prime antidote for all the troubles, Kale dosha nidhe rajan asti hi eko mahan gunad kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha parang vrajet. Chanting the holy names, one great quality, can rectify all the faults of Kali Yuga. We can personally get free from all the faults and go back to Godhead. But at the same time, proper understanding needs to be given. It may seem that we have an impossible task, but we have to do our duty. Do what we can, pushing back the demoniac civilization, book by book, one at a time. And having taken the trouble to get out into the public to distribute Krishna conscious literature, we should distribute books that are going to change people's lives and bring them closer to Krishna. I'm saying this, that we should carefully select the books that are actually Krishna conscious and are going to bring people to Krishna consciousness, because some of our book distributors, they're distributing books which are not actually going to help people to come to Krishna. For instance, if we're going among Indians, it's better to give them a set of Bhagavatams than a children's coloring book. They'll probably take a children's coloring book more easily, and okay, children's coloring books of Rama and Krishna, they have their purpose. We're not saying it's all bad and all wrong, but a set of Bhagavatams will be more effective. So we should especially promote Srila Prabhupada's books. Others are good also, like Coming Back, I've said many times, very important book. But we should remember that the Srila Prabhupada's books that are going to spearhead a revolution of Krishna consciousness, and that Whatever else we can write is simply subsidiary. There are all kinds of motivational books, even there may be with atheistic ideas, such as there's no such thing as good or bad. I spoke about that recently. How can you write? There's no such thing as good or bad. It's just a matter of perspective. I mean, even if you're an atheist, that's terrible philosophy. I don't want to be judgmental, but there's no difference between good and bad. It's just a matter of perspective, just a matter of opinion. So, some books might superficially have something to do with Krishna consciousness, but we should see carefully what they're saying and don't sell books that are only superficially Krishna conscious. They should actually be Krishna conscious. I was saying about pushing back the demoniac civilization one book at a time, but you are all great souls and you generally only do minimum 3 books at a time, if not full sets. Srila Prabhupada wrote in one of those many inspirational letters he wrote about book distribution, he wrote that fight with Maya means to drop thousands and millions of books into the lap of the conditioned souls. Just like during wartime, the bombs are raining from the sky like anything. Srila Prabhupada had that experience. He was in Calcutta during World War II. The Japanese bombs raining down. And people were all scurrying to the air raid shelters. Prabhupada said, I didn't go. I just thought, well, it's another form of Krishna. You've got to be pretty Krishna conscious to see Krishna coming in the form of death. So Srila Prabhupada compared these books to bombs. They're the biggest bombs of all. Demoniac people, they're always developing more and more powerful bombs to kill more and more people. And people spend there must be thousands of scientists, well, including the backup team, thousands of scientists just, they spend their whole life developing bombs and other weapons for killing people. One of the biggest industries in the world, right? So they may be very proud, we made bigger bombs. But they're just speeding up the inevitable, because anyway, whether you bomb them or whether you don't bomb them, they all have to die. Everyone has to die. But these books are better bombs because they stop death forever. They destroy all suffering forever. And they destroy the demoniac propensity of wanting to bomb others into oblivion and of wanting to dominate others and exploit them. So which is the better bomb? You can say, people are asking, what have you got there? So we're distributing bombs. Then they'll call the police. Run away screaming. But the scientists, they can't stop death. They always say, when I was a kid, we heard within a few years the scientists were going to stop death. And here in 2025 they're saying, within a few years the scientists are going to stop death. In the meantime, generation after generation of scientists are dying. They're not stopping death. It's not within their means. In this verse, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about welfare workers. All the welfare workers in the world, they're trying to help people. They're trying to improve the planet. But they can't do any real good because people, anyway, they have to die and get born again and again and again and again. So even if you increase the amount of oxygen in the air or decrease the amount of pollution or whatever, okay, it's not a bad idea. But that's not going to solve the ultimate problem. Therefore, distributing these books is the best welfare work. unfortunately, most people, they can't appreciate. People are so ignorant of their real need. People are so out of touch with the reality that we are spiritual beings. My purpose of life is not to buy more and more things. We're so out of touch with our spiritual need. People are so ignorant of it, they can't recognize what wonderful books they're getting. Some people have a little idea, a little appreciation. I saw that short, that's from one of your spiritual conventions. There's one man and woman, they were vendors at the spiritual convention, and at the end they were talking among themselves. They didn't make any money, practically. I guess after they paid all the rental fees and everything, the woman, she had $65 left over, and she was talking with her boyfriend or whatever it is, that, okay, let's put our money together and buy a Caitanya-caritamrta set, because the year before we bought the Bhagavatam set, and they wanted to get the books. So they're reading gradually. They didn't even finish the Bhagavatam, but they won the Caitanya-caritamrta. They're appreciating. And they said that in this whole convention, everyone here is just trying to make a buck. But you people, we can see you're also selling something, but you're in the mood of giving to others. So they really appreciated that. So some people are appreciating. Actually, when you come out with the books, all the people should fall down at your feet and offer you puja and everything. Anyone do that? Never happened yet. They don't have any idea what a great thing they're getting. We can hardly imagine what a great thing we're doing. These books, they are Krishna, the infinite, infinitely loving, powerful, sweet, merciful. And how much is our capacity? We're finite. How much is our capacity to understand and appreciate? We can't actually understand what we're doing. It's bigger. It's a bigger thing than we can understand with our little brains. We are finite living beings, but we have an infinite need for love and shelter and mercy, which only Krishna can give. And these books introduce us to Krishna. So you are yogis with bombs. Sometimes we hear in India they talk about Hindu terrorism. I was asked about that one. There's some Kamal Hassan. Have you heard of him? He's a Tamil atheistic Sri Vaishnava film producer. So he's trying to get some political traction. So he's talking about Hindu terrorism. So someone, I was in Bhimavaram, and someone from the local TV came, said, "What do you think about Hindu terrorism?" I said, "Well, I've been traveling all over this country all my life. I never saw or heard of it before." But now you can say, yeah, we're Hindu terrorists, yogis with bombs. Constructive bombs. Well, they do destroy. They destroy all the ignorance. But people expect yogis, they're going to do some miracles, right? Expect you to do some miracles. Have you seen magic shows? As a kid, I remember they pull the standard thing, pull a rabbit out of a hat. They show the hat, it's empty, put it down, and then pull out a rabbit. It's probably banned now by PETA to do such tricks. But one thing, when Prabhupada was present, the whole thing was a miracle. Right? There's that famous anecdote in Hyderabad where Srila Prabhupada was asked, can you show us some miracles? And at that time in Hyderabad, Sai Baba was immensely popular, all over Andhra especially, and immensely, and people had the highest regard for Sai Baba. He was famous for doing miracles. So Srila Prabhupada indicated to his Western disciples, these are my miracles. Actually, it's a fact. And so many miraculous things happen. I mean, the very fact that he was able to bring Krishna consciousness to the West, no one thought it could be possible. And there are all kinds of amazing things going on for spreading this movement. And for distributing books, so many miracles were happening. It was just a miracle that these books could be distributed. Srila Prabhupada had all these big books printed. First of all, how to get that Krishna book printed. $19,000 needed from George Harrison. In those days, $19,000 was a lot of money. And Shyamasundar didn't want to ask. And he asked, and George's face became black. And at that moment there was a thunderbolt in George's house and all the lights went out. And then they came back after a few minutes. If it was India, it would be a few days. Unusual in England for the lights to go out. And the lights, they all went out in where was it? South of London. There's a song, The Lights, They All Went Out in Massachusetts. Silly song. You never heard that song. Not such a famous song. Bee Gees. Silly things from my youth. So anyway, all the lights went out, and then lights came on and George is beaming. He said, well, I can't argue with that. Because Prabhupada was telling Shyamasundar, you have to ask him. And Shyamasundar, no, don't want to ask him. But he had to do it, it's Prabhupada's order. And then Abhiram Prabhu was just, I don't know if you saw it, there's an interview with him. He's just saying how he got the visa for Srila Prabhupada to go to America. He said, I have to do this. And the man was cussing him and everything. Devotees, they did things which were impossible, but the miracles were happening. So they got the books, and then no one thought you can sell these books. People have to give, I think it was $7 for a set, and which came out as $10. And who's going to give $10 for these books? But then they found that, yeah, people will take them. And miracle after miracle. To distribute even one book was a miracle. What to speak of the huge numbers. It was amazing when a devotee first of all distributed 100 big books in a day. It was something just amazing, miraculous. And we hear so many anecdotes from devotees when Srila Prabhupada is present, and you can feel the energy. It was a whole time of miracles. But those miracles are still going on, and should be, because it's anandam buddhi vardhanam. It's an ever-increasing ocean of bliss. It should be expanding more and more. And it's actually happening. The books are going out in greater numbers ever than previously. Because Srila Prabhupada didn't come to give us something that was just meant for a few years in time, or something static. So it's something that just, okay, came, finished, it's all over. It wasn't meant to be just lasting as long as he was there. He had a whole vision. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the vision that chanting should be in every town and village. So it's an ongoing miracle. And our connection with Srila Prabhupada will be seen in as much as the miracles continue to manifest. That doesn't mean we start going around doing tricks or making a show. But if we're actually practicing and propagating Krishna consciousness, then we can expect miracles. That will be our connection with Srila Prabhupada. If by taking his mercy, praying for his mercy, relying on his mercy, we can become his instruments, as Lord Chaitanya's instruments, to bring the whole spiritual world to the conditioned souls who have no idea of it. Or they were saying some Hindus, they have some idea. They have some idea of Krishna, but their ideas are so messed up and mixed up with so many strange ideas that in some cases it's almost worse than they had no idea. Because there's so many strange ideas. So, you're all going out and distributing books, giving Krishna in the form of these books, non-different from Krishna. Actually, you're not distributing any books. You cannot distribute any books. You never distributed any books. None of you. But you can all be blessed to be instruments as Krishna gives himself. Krishna is giving his mercy to the conditioned souls in the form of these books. And we can get mercy from Krishna by becoming his instrument. And this is better than getting any yoga siddhis for doing miracles. Yogis, they can do miracles. Srila Prabhupada wrote a very encouraging letter to Prabha Vishnu, my dear Prabha Vishnu. Please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated January the 1st, 1973. And I am very glad to hear from you the wonderful news of the traveling party in England. I think the people of that place are becoming more and more inclined for this Krishna consciousness movement. They are inviting you to stay at their houses. They are taking books, becoming sometimes devotees. All of these are very encouraging signs to me. If you simply go on in this way, stopping in every village and city of England, Scotland, or if there are other places like Ireland, simply stop for some time, distribute books, and hold Sankirtan procession, answer their questions, give some leaflets or small information freely, distribute prasadam whenever possible, at least some small thing. And if there is genuine interest being shown, then request the townspeople to arrange some engagements for speaking in their schools or in someone's home or a hall like that. For the last few years they've been doing that in England. They have a Meet the Monks program. They'll distribute books in one area for a week, and with the books they give out little pamphlets, and they invite people at the end of the week they have a Meet the Monks program. And then they invite people who they've been meeting all week, and they invite people and they give a little talk and in this way introduce people. Very nice program. I mean, I haven't personally been, but that's very good. There are so many things to do. So continuing this letter. In this way, remain always without anxiety for destination and comfortable situations, always relying on the mercy of Krishna for your plan. Just go on preaching his message and selling his books. Wherever there is interest, we shall not waste time if there is no interest, or if the people are unfriendly. There are so many places to go. But I understand from your letter that practically everyone is taking some interest. That means you are presenting the thing in a very nice manner. They can detect that. Here are some persons who are actually sincere and nice. Let me hear them. Let me purchase one book. So I can understand that it is not an easy matter to travel extensively over long periods of time without proper food, rest, and sometimes it must be very cold there also, and still, because you are getting so much enjoyment, spiritual enjoyment from it, it seems like play to you. That is the advanced stage of spiritual life, never attained by even the greatest yogis and so-called jnanis. But let any man see our devotees working so hard for Krishna, then let anyone say that they are not better than any millions of so-called yogis and transcendentalists. That is my challenge. Because you are rightly understanding through your personal realization this philosophy of Krishna consciousness, therefore in such a short time you have surpassed all the stages of yoga processes to come to the highest point of surrendering to Krishna. That I can very much appreciate. Thank you very much for helping me in this way. Hoping this meets you and the other men of your party in the best of health and spirits, your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So you are all great yogis, no doubt, carrying on from a previous life, and you can tell people that if you like. You can say, yeah, I was doing this in a previous life also. I'm a yogi from a previous life also. So it's a suggestion. You can also tell people you were a yogi in the previous life. Oh, they may. If you go to the spiritual convention, people, you can tell them you're carrying on from. It's not everyone who takes an interest. You're picking it up. It's right there, but you can show them in Bhagavad-gita. Krishna says that, right? Tatratang buddhi samyogam labante purvadehikam. What's the next line? Anyway, you get the idea. We're picking up from a previous life. So we're yogis, we're fighters, taking out bombs, very dangerous bombs, fighting an enemy much bigger and stronger than us. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Maya is very strong, but mameva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti. But if we get the mercy of Krishna, if we take shelter of Krishna, surrender to Krishna, then we have Krishna's backing. Just like Arjuna in the battlefield. He was fighting for Krishna. He was depending on Krishna. But still, it doesn't mean he was depending on Krishna and therefore he was doing some yoga exercise on his chariot and expecting Krishna to do everything. There are rules of fighting. There are techniques. You have to train. You have to be ready. You have to use your intelligence. He had been trained by childhood, since his childhood, as a fighter. So there are rules also. Rules for yogis. Yogis have so many rules. Basic principles for yogis given by Krishna in Bhagavad-gita. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasya, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Basic rules. What Lord Buddha called the middle way. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Should be balanced. Eating, working, recreation. Of course, our work and our recreation is more or less the same. That's what they say, right? If you want to have a happy life, you should do what you like to do. But to fight or to do yoga, you have to be physically fit. We want to fully give ourselves in this mission. You're making huge efforts to get the books out, but we have to pace ourselves also. We can't do it all at once. We can try and push and do everything all at once. commonly seen that devotees will push and push and push and then they just collapse. So better pace yourself. This body is a machine. It needs certain principles for maintaining it. So don't eat too much, don't eat too little, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. All these things. Long-term sustainable practices. That's we have to see in terms of the long term. We have to keep fit spiritually also. So sometimes we're going out for long hours distributing books, but we need to take time for chanting, hearing, reading, come back, associate with devotees, remain in association of devotees. This question came up to me, that sometimes devotees, they're out all day on their own. And that's for distributing books that can be very effective. But it's for the long term, it's not going to be a good program. Because Maya is waiting to gobble us up at any moment. At every moment she's waiting. There may be differences of opinion about this, but my opinion is, well, Srila Prabhupada said, he gave one whole letter about how the highest realization is to work to save others. And the last line, Prabhupada said, the highest realization is to save yourself. So we're so busy saving others, but we have to save ourselves first. So we can push ourselves to the max, but don't underestimate Maya, and don't think that physically, mentally, or spiritually we're invincible. Yeah, there may be different approaches, and there may be differences of opinion. Even among great yogis, there can be personality clashes, and worse. Vishvamitra and Vashishta, two of the greatest rishis in the whole of history, and they're famous for their enmity, which they settled, but it was after a lot of they were fighting. They took the form of birds and fought for 1,000 years, something like that. When yogis get into things, they get into it really seriously. You've got to be really serious to be a yogi. And then when they fight really seriously also. In the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, Tengalai, Vardagalai, they argue on everything possible arguable about. I mean, some things they agree. There are some things. Actually, there's a lot of things they agree on, but a lot of things they disagree very deeply. And practically it's expected that there'll be some differences of opinion, personality clashes. However, we have to be careful and remember why we're all here and what we're all doing here and how fortunate we are to have the association of devotees. And it's a trick of Maya that because there are some dealings which we're not they don't seem so good or so nice, and we become overly disturbed. Say, oh, this devotee is not talking properly or behaving properly. And it may be true. But if we compare the aim of that devotee and how they're living their life and who they are, I mean, every devotee is a saintly person. Far better than so many misled people. They're all saintly people. So we have to remember that we need Vaishnava association, and we only have each other. You've experienced that the mood here at Krishna Life is different to many other centers of Krishna consciousness. And there's a reason for that. We're trying to consciously and very closely stick to the principle of anyabhilashita shunyam, pure devotion, doing everything which is required for pleasing Krishna and avoiding everything which is displeasing to Krishna. And we're trying to stick very closely to Srila Prabhupada and what he wanted. And it makes a difference. There's always a dichotomy. Should we make things very easy for so many people can come? Or should we keep it straight and narrow so that we can be focused on what we need to do? And how do we balance these two things? Well, they're always going to be in opposition to each other. Open up the doors very wide, but then we come down to the lowest common denominator. We go and make things so strict and then hardly anyone can come. Anyway, we'll go on. And farm community also gives an opportunity to engage people who just little interest in Krishna consciousness. So they may not even have any interest, but they might be interested in doing some work on the land, like that. So that's one way of bringing people in. Anyway, we should all stick together, unite or perish. Sanghe Shakti Kalo Yuge. In Kali Yuga, we get strength from association. Otherwise, Krite Yadhyato Vishnum. In Krita Yuga, Satya Yuga, the yogis would meditate, but they'd mostly be on their own. Meditation is just going into your own psychic space. But ours is a joint process, Sankirtan. Bahubhya militva yat kirtan amiti Sankirtan. Many come together to glorify the Lord. So, Hare Krishna.